I was really good at my job. I was a manager at JCPenney, and I sold anything and everything from high-end draperies to men's underwear. And
Yeah.
I was inventory control specialist, you name it. I did it all over my store. I was always on the top metrics, in how a retail environment says you're doing great, whether it's in sales or profit or catalog referrals or all of that kind of stuff. My departments were always in the top because I always supported my employees. And that's the part that I really loved, is giving my employees the tools necessary for them to be successful. It was all the other stuff that we as management had to deal with. And I was in that job for 18 years. And as I told you earlier today, I stayed in that job 5 years longer than I really wanted to,
Mm.
because of other people's fears imposing their fears upon me, and me going, oh, I guess I gotta have to have that. So my pathway into this healing was starting in the late 80s, actually, because I'm uh, aging myself. I'll be 60 in a couple of weeks. So I was still pretty young in the 80s, and
Mhm.
I knew something. I needed something different. I don't know what that was. I
Yeah.
didn't at that time, because the internet didn't exist back then.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
so I couldn't just Google
Mhm.
it. Google and Yahoo didn't even exist back then. And
Right.
I just felt it was literally a pull in my solar plexus to raise my vibration. I didn't know what
Mhm.
that meant.
Right.
I went, okay, God. I literally was on my knees, the little kid's prayer, now I lay me down to sleep, that kind of
Mhm.
position, and
Yes.
going, God, show me. Something has to change here. Show me. And please show me. I don't like my life. I was not happy. And literally, little by little, people started showing up. It didn't all happen at once. My
Yes.
pathway was very gradual. And I realized when I look back how miraculous it was.
I mean,
Literally, my sister called and said, let's go out to dinner one night. And I said, okay. She's like, I can't be there until 7. I'm like, I get off work at 5:30. I'm going to have to hang around for an hour and a half. Well, I just walked around. At that time, I worked in downtown Des Moines, which is the capital city of Iowa. And I found this little wonderful little eclectic store that sold artwork, they sold clothes, jewelry. And I'm walking out the door to go to the restaurant. And there was just this little sign, like this big, that said New Moon Healing Circle. And it was like, the sign was this big, but then it became huge. It's like jumped out at my face. And I asked my mom, I said, hey, I just saw this poster saying New Moon Healing Circle. You want to come? And my mom said, yeah. My mom was an incredible person. The She was a psychic herself, so I could never get away with anything growing up because she always knew what I was doing. And so we went to this New Moon Healing Circle. And what it is, it's a Native American circle. You have a talking stick, and the person talking, everyone listens. So you get 5 to 10 minutes of you just pouring your heart out, and everyone is actively listening. And one woman said, I'm a Reiki master. And it was like, what?
Whoop.
I gotta learn that. I didn't know what it was. I gotta learn that. So that kind of took me on a journey of 4 years, actually, to find someone who was going to teach me, because back then, so this was the early 90s, back then there weren't very many Reiki masters. Now I know probably over 15
Yeah,
Reiki
me too.
masters.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's a lot more proliferated. So that kind of started me on the journey. It was like everyone I met raised my taught me something to raise my vibration in a different way, in a different way, in a different way.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
exactly, and meaning changing your vibration really meant shifting whatever was getting in the way of anything coming to you, coming to me. And as I was slowly letting go of stuff, letting go of my hurts, my traumas, my limiting beliefs, people
Mhm. All
came
part
in.
of it.
Yep, people came in, and every time I kind of hit a bump in the road, I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Something's going to happen. I need something different. Someone would come in to teach me. So all the things that I do, the energy work that I do, excuse me, are a direct response to those prayers, are a direct response to me going, I need help.
Right. Right.
So and we're talking, this has been over the course of, I don't know, since 19, I became a Reiki master in 2000. I started my Reiki journey in 1997.
Mhm.
So a very long time, as you have yourself. How long have you been practicing?
So again, I quit my job on my 20-year anniversary, and then I opened so 2008. Then started all of the training before, but in 2008 is when I started my physical business practice, and I had a location. I was in a place by my in a house basically that had different offices, and I was the only one that did that did anything like this in any form. But slowly, as people would move out of those spaces, the landlord said, you know what, go ahead and bring in wellness kind of people, and so developed a practice, or sorry, a center, a wellness center, and that allowed just to expand again my learning, my who I was able to help and support. But it was pretty much face to face. Now all of my family was not local at the time. My immediate husband and kids, but not my sister, my mom, my aunts and uncles. They weren't local, and so part of the learning that I had was how to work remotely.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about this more as we're helping all of you viewers. But it's the idea that when you can kind of tune into the energy and basically ask to be connected and supporting somebody, all for the best and highest good. you
Absolutely.
can you can literally tap into their energy and give guidance about what's going on, and offer energy flow, energy, higher vibration, to
Mhm.
let things go, to clear out trauma, to clear out difficulty. There's just, yeah, we'll talk about all that. But
Endless.
um,
Yeah.
I had that possibility of working directly with people, hands-on helping them, energy medicine, Reiki. Those are all tools that I have as well that are really hands-on modalities, so that you're not only, kind of thinking and intuiting, but your hands are flowing the energy. And that's just fabulous to be able to work on people that way. Of course, then COVID hit, right? So
Right.
and so the ability to be able to see people face to face was just not there for some amount of time. And so I just said, okay, I know that this works remotely. I know that it works over the phone, over
Mhm.
Zoom. And so I'm going to basically let go of my space and say, okay, figure out how to do this. And that's what I've been in that mode of now, working with and on and for people ever since.